Hi, Ram. 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 It's 5 o'clock. We will start the study circle with
Hi,
three
Ram.
ohms. Hi, Ram. It's 5 o'clock. We will start the study circle with three ohms. It's 5 o'clock. We will start the study circle with three ohms. As part of study circle, we have been fortunate to discuss Swami's Bhagavatha Vahini, and we are on 71st session. We will start the study circle to complete 100 sessions of this study circle. As part of study circles, we have been fortunate to discuss and we are Swami's Bhagavatha Vahini, and we are on. Thank everyone for participating in the study circle. It's been very enriching session, and we will request everyone to please continue as part of study circle so that we all benefit from each other's and we are Swami's Bhagavatha. So before we start today's session, thank everyone for participating in the study circle. It's been very enriching session, and we will request everyone to please continue as part of study circle so that we all benefit from each other's and dear Swami's Bhagavatha. We are so great to start today's session. Thank you everyone for your presence here. While we are here today together discussing your word in your Bhagavad, so that we all benefit from we ask that you open our ears and so great start to whatever it is that you want to offer your presence here. While we are here and help us together discussing your word in your Bhagavad, so that we all benefit from we ask that you open our ears and so great start to whatever it is that you want to offer your presence here. While we are here and help us together discussing your word in your Bhagavad, and let's ask relevant questions. Dear Sainam, use your super start to whatever it is that you want to offer your presence here. While we are here and help us together discussing your word in your just brief ask relevant questions. Dear Sainam, use your super start to whatever it is part of that the brief on what we discussed in the last session and help us together discussing your word. Just brief ask relevant question on Dear Sainam, use your super start to whatever words part of one have the brief on what we discussed in the last session and help us together discussing your word. Just brief ask relevant question on Dear Sainam, use your super efficient. We did discuss about one have the brief on what we discussed in the last session and help us saying the words. Repeating just brief ask relevant question on Dear Sainam, use your super efficient. We did discuss about one have the brief on what we discussed in the last session and help us saying the words. Even when just brief relevant question on Dear Sainam, use your super efficient. We did discuss about one have the brief on what we discussed in the last session and help us saying the words. Energy of the even when it's just like a fire, and the mountains are too large to even venture into those like unknown channels of land. So Namaskara means to even when it's just like a fire, and the mountains are too large even venture into those like unknown channels of land. So Namaskara means to even when it's just like a fire, and the mountains are too large even venture and those behind the land. So Namaskara chanting louder even when it's just like a fire, more at the mountains are too large even venture and those behind the more so Namaskara chanting louder even when it's just like a fire, more at the mountains are too large even venture and those behind the more so Namaskara chanting louder even when it's just like a fire, more at the mountains where we find even venture and those behind the so Namaskara chanting louder even when it's just like a fire, more at the mountains where we find even venture and those behind the so Namaskara chanting louder even when it's just like a fire, more at the mountains where we find even venture and those behind okay, okay, Sairam. So today what we are going to do is to move on with the chanting louder of Bhagavatam, which is like a more at the mountains where we find even venture and those behind okay, okay, Sairam. So today what we are going to do is to move on with the chanting louder of Bhagavatam, which is like a more at the mountains where we find even venture and those behind okay, okay, Sairam. So today what we are going to do is to move on with the chanting louder of Bhagavatam, which is like a more at the mountains where we find even venture and those behind okay, Sairam.
Bhagavata
So today
Vahini,
what we are going to do is to move on
Chapter
with the
29.
chanting louder of Bhagavatam,
The
which is like
dialogue
more at the
begins.
mountains where we find
Describing the stages of creation, Setsuka said, Bhagavata Vahini, Shatarupa and Manu together 29 approached the Lord of creation. The dialogue inquired, begins. What the heck of Describing the stages of creation, Setsuka said, Bhagavata Vahini, Shatarupa and Manu together 29 approached the Lord of the dialogue. The dialogue inquired, begins. What the heck of Describing the stages of creation, Setsuka said, Bhagavata Vahini, Shatarupa and Manu together 29 approached the Lord of the dialogue. The dialogue inquired, begins. What the heck of Describing the stages of creation, Setsuka said, Bhagavata Vahini, Shatarupa and Manu together the dialogue approached the Lord of creation. What and inquired, what they had to describing the stages of creation. Brahma replied, Setsuka said, Bhagavata Vahini, Shatarupa and Manu together the dialogue. So equipped with the authority derived from this command, what they had to describing the earth with people. Brahma replied, Setsuka to the king, at this together king interceded Shatarupa and Manu together the dialogue. So equipped with the authority derived from this command, the origin describing the earth with Brahma implies Setsuka to the king. So I have no desire to hear about these matters, but please relate to me how to overcome this infatuation, delusion and attachment. In these last days, what exactly has man to do? Which name has he to keep constantly in mind so that he can avoid forever this round of birth and death? Tell me these things, Master, he asked. Sukha was very much delighted at this query. He replied, O king, you are a spiritual soul.
Sorry. Okay, let me go back. Sorry. Okay, sorry about some technical difficulties here. So we are going to listen to this chapter. Sairam.
Bhagavata Vahini, Chapter Bhagavata Vahini, Chapter 29. The dialogue begins. Describing the stages of creation, Sage Sukha said, Shatarupa and Manu together approached the Lord of creation and inquired what they had to fulfill. Brahma replied, Be mates of each other, beget and people the earth. So equipped with the authority derived from this command, they filled the earth with people, said Sage Sukha to the king. At this, the king interceded. O master, I have learned from my own experience that the origin of all grief in this world is infatuation or moha. So I have no desire to hear about these matters, but please relate to me how to overcome this infatuation, delusion and attachment. In these last days, what exactly has man to do? Which name has he to keep constantly in mind so that he can avoid forever this round of birth and death? Tell me these things, master, he asked. Sukha was very much delighted at this query. He replied, O king, you are a spiritual soul. You serve sages with devotion. This large gathering of monks, ascetics and sages is proof of your meritorious acts, for these do not usually congregate in any place. Then the king interrupted him with his protests. No, no, my lord, I am a great sinner. I have no trace of spiritual progress in me. If I had the least merit, if I had served sages devotedly, I would not have become the target for the curse of the Brahmin. The fortune that I enjoy now, namely the company of these great sages and the chance of adoring your feet, is the consequence of the meritorious acts of my forefathers. I know fully well that my activities have not contributed anything to it. The grace of Shyama Sundara showered on my grandparents is the cause. Had it been otherwise, can persons like me, who are sunk in the well of samsara, immersed in a vain pursuit of sensory pleasure, who do not contemplate for a moment the true, the eternal and the pure, can ever hope to see before us in concrete form your presence, ever roaming in the silence of the forests, unknown to man? Really, O Lord, this is an unattainable piece of good fortune. All this is due to the blessings of my grandparents and the grace of Shyama Sundara, and not to anything else. You are full of affection for me, and so you attribute this to my own merit. I am only too aware of my failings. Kindly continue to shower me the same affection and help me to decide what has to be given up by a person whose death is imminent, what has to be adopted and practiced by him. Advise me this and make my days worthwhile. You alone can solve this for me, O Lord. So please relate to me the Bhagavatha, as you said you would. You told me that it is the basis for progress and for liberation. It will destroy sins. It will result in prosperity. So please let me quaff this sacred nectar of the name of Krishna and refresh myself in this feverish heat. Parikshit pleaded. Sage Sukha smiled at the king and said, O king, the Bhagavatha is as worthy of reverence as the Vedas, as worthy of study and observance. At the end of the Dwapara age, on the Gandhamadana mountain, in the hermitage of my father Vyasa, I had listened to this sacred text. I shall repeat the same to you. Listen. At this, the king inquired, with his palms held together in prayer, O incomparable sage, I have heard that you were an ascetic, deep in detachment from the very moment of birth. Even without the traditional ceremonial rites which purify and clarify the intellect, such as Jatakarma, that is the first cleansing of the infant, then Namakarna, obeisance to all the gods, and Upanayana, that is a rite of initiation being led to teacher, you had won the fullest awareness of the reality, and hence I have heard you are moving about in the consciousness of that truth, away from men in the forests. Hence I am surprised that your heart was drawn towards this text, which you say is saturated with devotion. What caused your interest in this path? I pray that you describe the circumstances to me. Sukha started explaining with a calm, unruffled countenance. Yes, I am beyond prescriptions and prohibitions. I am an unbroken merchant in the attributeless, Nirguna Brahma. That is the truth about me. Nevertheless, I must declare that there is an inexpressible sweetness in God that attracts you and captivates you by His sportive activities and attributes. I must confess also that I have listened to the description of the beauty and the sweetness of God. My mind is delighted in hearing and reading the glories of God, manifesting His divine attributes through each of these. I could not remain at peace. I exulted like a madman thrilled by the bliss I derived from listening and reading. His sweet pranks and sports intoxicated me with infinite joy. This day I came here since I became aware that a chance has arisen to relate them to a group of eager listeners, persons who in all respects deserve to hear them and understand their significance. Therefore, O King, I shall relate that sacred Bhagavatha to you and through you to the personages gathered here. You have the avidity and the attainment necessary to listen to it. You have resolved to achieve the highest goal of man. Those who listen to this narrative with earnest devotion and reflect upon its value and significance and act accordingly to the light it sheds on their minds, such will merge in the bliss of which Vasudeva the Lord is the embodiment. Their hearts will be filled with the sweet nectar of the personification of captivating charm, and they will experience the Advaita Ananda, the bliss of being one and only. The highest sadhana is the recitation of the name of God, with full vigilance of thought, feeling and utterance, and the loud singing of His glory. No better sadhana exists. O King, do not lose yourselves in anxiety. The time is short. Not much time is needed to win the grace of God. The rays of grace from that embodiment of compassion can fall on you as quick as the wink of the eye. I shall enable you to listen during these 7 days to the stories of many who experienced spiritual bliss, how Vasudeva blessed them with spiritual progress, how persons crossed the ocean of birth and death through the hearing of such stories and the singing of the glory of God that is manifest in them. We shall not waste a single moment. You are conscious that you have only 7 more days of life. Therefore, give up all sense of mine and thine, of the body in which you live and the home in which the body lives. Be aware only of the story of Madhava, the Lord of the universe. Drink the nectarine narratives of the incarnations of the Lord. It is quite a common occurrence that stories are told and heard by gatherings of thousands. But wisdom can be achieved only by placing complete faith in what you heard. That faith must result in a cleansed mind and a pure heart. One more point, O King. There are countless exponents who go about discoursing on morals and spiritual matters on the basis of mere study. They do not have an iota of experience of what they preach. They have no faith in the authenticity of the various manifestations of divine glory, which they dilate upon. Such exhortation is as ineffective as offerings of ghee made not in flames but on cold heap of ashes. It will not cure the mind of faults and failures. In your case, O King, there is no fear of such ineffectiveness. Your heart is immersed in the uninterrupted flood of love for Shyamasundara. Whoever listens to this narrative and imbibes the nectar of this story with a heart bubbling over with divine yearning, unshakable faith in God, and constant joy, can attain the realization of the self. This is beyond the realm of doubt. O King, this occasion, this text, and this listener are all quite appropriate and excellent. Saying, "Oh, how fortunate you are!" the sage Sukha placed his hand on the head of the king in benediction. He caressed the thick curls of his hair. The king pleaded most humbly, "O master, you know too well that I have very little time before me." Therefore he continued with folded palms, "So give me highest guidance, and I shall get myself established in it all these 7 days. Give me the holy formula, so that I can repeat it in the short time I have, and keep it fresh in memory and save myself." The sage laughed. "O Parikshit, those who are intent on sensory pleasures spend their days in worry, in anxiety, in pain, grief and tears throughout a long period of life. They breed like birds and beasts. They eat good food and cast it away as urine and feces. This is the purposeless life that most people lead. Can you call this the process of living? Enormous numbers of living beings exist on the earth. Living is not enough. It has no value by itself, for itself. It is the motives, the feelings, the thoughts, the attitudes that prompt the day-to-day life that matters. If a person has divine qualities manifesting themselves as thoughts, feelings, etc., then he is alive. Instead, if a person defiles the holy encasement of his body, by utilizing it for unholy purposes that cater to momentary happiness, thereby ignoring the all-knowing, all-powerful providence, it is to be condemned as a calculated denial of one's humanity. Take the case of a person who has fixed his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. It does not matter if he is short-lived. During that short period, he can make the life fruitful and auspicious. O King, to remove your doubt, I shall tell you the beautiful story of a Rajarishi. Listen. In the Solar dynasty, there was once a ruler who was mighty in prowess, heroic on the field, prolific in charity, upright in character, and just in his dealings. He was named Khatwanga. He had no equal. No one could challenge him. Meanwhile, the wicked Daityas and Danavas mustered their forces and went to war against the Devas, gods. The gods were afraid of being overwhelmed. They realized their weakness and came down to earth and sought the help from King Khatwanga. The king was also longing for the adventure of battle. So he collected his bow and arrows, and riding his chariot, he proceeded to the scene of war. There, he shook the hearts of the Daityas and Danavas by the sheer terror of his valor. The enemy fled in panic, unable to withstand the terrific onslaught. Since it is immoral to subject a fleeing foe to hot pursuit, Khatwanga desisted from further clashes. The gods were happy that they could achieve victory through the timely help of Khatwanga. They praised his might and his sense of righteousness. O King, there is no one who can compare with you in contemporary history. You granted us triumph in this deadly struggle against the forces of evil. We desire that you should accept from us in return any help that you need that we can render. The king told them, Ye gods, yajnas and yagas are performed by men to please you, isn't it? This battle, in which I had the privilege to participate, is therefore a yajna, so far as I am concerned. What else do I need from you than this grace that you have showered on me? This is sufficient boon. Declaring thus, he fell at the feet of the gods. Not satisfied with this reply, the gods compelled him to ask for something, some boon from them. Though he had no mind to ask anything, he was forced to frame some wish, since he felt he would not be left alone. At last he said, "O gods, reveal to me how many more years I shall live. Only then I can decide which boon I can ask from you." Indra, the monarch of the gods, is all-knowing, and so, without a moment's delay, he replied, "O king, your span of life is very nearly over. You can live only for one more muhurtam, that is, a period of few minutes." On hearing this, Khatwanga said, "I have nothing to ask. I do not need anything. I feel that all the pleasures of this world and the next are trifles to be discarded. I shall not enter again the slush of sensory pleasure. Give me the boon of attaining the sublime presence of the Lord, from which there is no return, for which all life is dedicated." Then he sat with closed eyes, repeating the name of God, and at the end of the muhurta, he achieved the lotus feet of God. Note, O King Parikshit, how in a few moments he cast off from the mind of all attachment to objective pleasure. Khatwanga was thus able to reach the feet of the Lord, where fear dare not approach. You have 7 days, O king, while he had a few minutes only. Therefore, you have no reason to be anxious. During these days, purify your inner consciousness by attentively listening to the best and holiest narrative of the manifestation of God. At this, Parikshit shed tears of joy, remembering the supreme benediction won by the great devotee Khatwanga. He exclaimed, "O Master, instruct me what I must do. I do not get words to express my yearning. My heart is overflowing with bliss." He sat in petrified silence. Sage Sukha advised, "O king, equip yourself with the sword of detachment. Cut into pieces the deluded affection for the body. Give up the minus that makes you cling to your kith and kin. Be seated firmly on the bank of this sacred river." When Sukha was about to begin his narrative, Parikshit appeared anxious to ask some question. Seeing this, Sukha said, "Well, you seem to be perplexed with something. Ask me what you wish to know, and have that doubt removed from your mind." Immediately the king said, "O master, you are indeed the ocean of compassion. As a tasty meal to a starving person, your words bring cool comfort to my burning heart. O revered preceptor, you had spoken to me a short while ago about the beginnings of creation. I did not understand it clearly. Why did the attributeless, the Parabrahma, assume form and attributes? Tell me about that, O Lord." The king sat with expectant face, all attention, and praying sincerely, eager to hear and learn.
Okay, Saidam. And that's the end of this chapter. As we had said in the past, it's like a continuous flow. These chapters, they just stop at some point. I think if we listen to the next chapter, we will get to know more about it. But I thought it's a good point, good chapter to discuss. Basically, this chapter deals with two aspects that we could discuss. One is about detachment. Of course, Sage Sukha talks when Parikshit asks what he needs to do, he talks about detachment, gets detached. The second is he also says how beneficial it is to just listen to the stories of um, the spiritual stories. So how beneficial it is. So the second part is the Shravanam part of it. So how just listening to it, how it is beneficial in our spiritual progress. So these are the two essential topics that we could take from this chapter that we could discuss. So, and of course, we will go into Swami's discourses related to these topics in the next few sessions. So, before we go into that, these are all the few pointers. Um, why is infatuation considered the source of all sorrow in human life? And these are all some of the points we have noted. If you have additional things, or if you want to go back to any part of the chapter that we just listened to, we can go back. How can detachment help overcome suffering? Can one live in the world without attachment and still fulfill duties? That is on that part of detachment, or getting rid of attachment. The second is on the Shravanam part of it. How does listening to the Bhagavata purify the mind and lead to liberation? And what makes listening a powerful spiritual discipline? And how does one listen with faith and yearning rather than just hearing? So these are all some of the questions. Just let's open to the floor. Anybody has anything to say about um, the attachment or detachment? Saira. Just hold on. I think I added a few pointers. 1 second. I think I opened a different file. 1 second. Just placed it. Before we go into that one, I thought that maybe we can start off with what is detachment. Let's go into more fundamental questions. Let's try to understand or define what is detachment. Let's see if we can try to start off from there.
Sairam. So as far as I know, before we talk about detachment, so the cause of detachment or the thought of detachment, if one have to think about it, um, attachment is the uh, cement for that. I mean, one when they come to know that they have attached to something, you know, so then the start for thinking of detachment takes over the mind, right? Because until we don't know that we are attached to something, let it be materialistic attachment or mental attachment, right? So at some point of time our mind plays tricks in the sense that we need to move away from this attachment. Let it be I mean, in the practical world, let it be a job, let it be a place or something like that. So now what is detachment? Detachment is simply you know uh, while we come out of that, right? While we come out of that thing which we wanted to leave or which we are supposed to leave, and then after going out of that, simply living in the right current moment is the basic strength for detaching. That's what I believe. Dwelling in the past is the primary cause for the sorrow. And when we go in the line of detachment, if we, to the I mean to the brothers who are not in the retreat, I've asked the same question to Brother Sundaraya. So he also said some same thing similar to living in the present.
Okay.
Because for every human being, as we are not, I mean, we are in the our souls are in form of humans, so we all have to cross over this karmic cycles, right? So we can't escape those. Some might like God, some might have not, some will not like God. Some might like movies, some might not like movies. Every man or every individual mind have their own set of standards. So what I'm trying to say is, it's like we are like flowing river. We always have to flow, like waters. So when the time we wanted to stick to something which is not possible, then the root cause of sorrow begins. And that's where the concept of detachment has been introduced, right? Concept of detachment has been introduced, and the switch over, that we do when we switch over from something to something, thinking about that, dwelling in the past is not considered, not to be considered. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. Anybody has anything to add? See, what is detachment? What are we? See, the next one. Detachment from what? Why is detachment so important? In other words, why? Uh, how is attachment hampering? In other words, why do we need to be detached? What do we be detached from? Yes.
We have discussed this detachment definition multiple times in the past. Detachment is nothing like give up everything and walk away. We know the essence of the detachment word. Like you do your job, but do not expect the outcome that what you want out of it. Like you all do something expecting some result. Oh, when I prepare for something, I should get something in return to that. When I perform something, I want some result from it. So it is the definition given even in Bhagavad Gita. So you do your job, don't expect any result out of it. That's your job to perform. Result is not in your control. Whatever that comes, accept it as is. It might not give the result what you want. It may be a negative. You expect something, a lot of times what happens, we do something expecting, oh, this is going to make a good result. I mean, give me a good result or a better outcome out of it. But we get negative outcome out of it. We have seen some examples, right? So then, oh, why happened to me? My intention was good. I did with the good intentions, expecting a good outcome from it, but I'm getting negative outcome out of it. It's not in our control. It's supposed to happen, it happens. But if you take it to heart, then that's the problem. It causes you to go through the sorrow, all that other issues, because you are stick to the result. So that is what I feel the detachment for.
Okay. Detachment from the results. Detachment from the results. Okay, Sairam. That's good. Yes. Anybody here? Yes.
Yep, Saram.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Saira,
Yeah, go ahead.
detachment in simple words is unconditional love.
Okay.
Means conditional love.
Conditional love. Okay. Good definition. Okay. Unconditional love. Detachment is unconditional love. Okay. Okay. That's a good point, Sairam. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Saram, I just wanted to connect it in a simple ways like, see, anything is an attachment is nothing but like anything that makes us more feel happy kind of thing. Like, so we build bodily attachments or like mental attachments and all those things. Like, whether it could be a small shirt also. If I like it, like I feel happy and I keep wearing it. If you want to detach this thing from this, you feel like ashamed. Oh, yeah, I feel like okay, I don't have it. I see anything like that makes it more and more and remove you from the consciousness. Like okay, especially like the infatuation is like when you are not having that much of maturity, you you feel like liking everything and you get attached, and that attachment keeps you more and more happiness kind of thing. Like oh, I want to have this thing, and then when you are and everything is moving away from me, it makes me feel sorrow. Like that's where like I feel like detachment of all the things that have been attached, very whether it could be a monetary or a materialistic or non-materialistic, getting away that thing might be a very challenging. So so anything, it could be like a materialistic, any relationship that gets very close, and when you feel happy, it likes it. But when you try to move away from that thing, you feel sorrow. That's a detachments.
Okay.
Even it could be a even if you are attached to the divinity also, like the god. So when you want to go away also, like for some reasons, like one day if you're not doing some puja, or like if you're not trying to be spending time with that, you feel unhappy kind of thing. So
Okay. So attachment to material things.
materialistic or non-materialistic or anything.
Okay. And detachment, I mean, that leads to
Happiness kind of
happiness.
thing. Yeah, because you're getting something like you feel happy. Your mind, mental
Really, does it lead to happiness? I mean,
the momentary might be, because that's where like your attachments will be more of your uh, unawareness, or like the ignorance of that thing, like what exactly the longer benefits of something. But the momentary, you feel it happy, even if you are um, trying to do some bhajan or like something like that. Moment you feel like a high, and you do that, all those things. But I felt like when you go away from that, you feel down or something like this.
mm, okay. Okay. So anything materialistic
Mhm.
can lead to temporary happiness. So, for
Correct.
example, you buy a new car,
Mhm.
okay, so or a new house, and so you're going to be really happy because you got a, you want to enjoy that one. You want to, but is that going to be permanent? Obviously not.
No.
It's going to die down. I mean, after a few days, maybe you will lose that joy that you derived from possessing that. It's
Correct.
gone, right? So all that joy that you get from anything that you attach to a materialistic thing is never going to be a permanent.
Yeah, it
So
is a
I
moment.
think, in other words, I think she put it in as a conditional love. So you have a conditional love, as long as it is in its same state, which probably it won't. I mean, a car may be new. When it is new, you like it. And will it be new forever? No, it's going to, as you use it, it's going to degrade. And then you lose that attraction. Then you want another new car. So obviously that charm to that car is gone. So anything that is like that is, I think she put it as conditional love.
Yeah, as long as you think that like everything is mine, mine, that is more of attachments. So
Okay.
anything, even if it is losing its shine, also like as long as you have it string attached to that, saying that it's mine,
Mhm.
you have a stronger attachments.
Yes, yes. So yes. So attachment to anything that is materialistic can not be a permanent one. But you did bring about
Non-materialistic,
non-materialistic
a
things.
relationship. Yeah.
Okay, let's take the relationship.
A relationship like with your better half or your kids also.
Yes.
That those are all like a relationship that gets formed, like, and then they create a lot of attachments to them.
Correct.
So detaching, even like, see, I've seen like most of my friends also who has a dog as their pet.
Yeah.
They get so attached to that thing, like and we know that like, okay, the lifespan of that thing is like 10 to 12 years or like 15 years max,
Yeah,
and all.
yeah.
But still they get attached, they know that. But when it tries to depart, it's so much painful for them, like, so
Yeah. That's
any
good,
relationship
good
also.
example. Yes. So anything that is attachment to materialistic is, eventually it may give you a joy initially, but eventually it may lead to a sorrow.
So
Yeah.
Question I have is, how would specifically in the relationship parts, how would the detachment correlate with the human value of love and love all, serve all? And how would, because if I'm detaching, how would I still love um everyone and that person specifically while I'm still moving those attachments from?
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on that topic, maybe one way to think is, if you can love the other person also same as your son or kid, maybe put the turn, then you will have the compassion and the affection towards everybody. The love all serve all will come from that front, I think. So if you can have that, where you can change your mindset. But what I want to cover is, I mean, how do we achieve it and sustain it? The way I look at it is everything is temporary. First, you have that mindset. Nothing is permanent, and everything is, and also both happiness or sorrow. Always look life, zoom out and look life from like 30,000 or 50,000 or even 100,000, whatever. The zoom out, the more zoom out you do, your maturity levels will be very high. At least the way I look at it. And then you don't, when anything, small things happen, if you zoom out life, hey, 1 year from now, do I remember this moment? Or 10 years from now, do I remember this moment? No. Then why am I caring now? So, I mean, that's what I meant by zooming out. So the more you zoom out, then you will know that, hey, we are attaching or detaching to things. So that's how I sustain or I achieve that.
Very good point, Saram. That is a very good thing. Yes, sir.
Saram,
Yes.
so the question from Bhargav is, if I have detachment, how can I do love all, serve all? Is that the point you are trying to make?
Specifically with the human value of love and the love all, serve all, what Swami has stated previously.
How it can't, you mean that contradicts with the attachment? That's what it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how love without attachment works.
Uh,
So,
so see, when you say love all, serve all, so why you are loving? Are you expecting anything out of it? If you are not expecting anything out of that, you're just giving it, but you're not expecting. That's what the definition of love all, serve. Unconditional. I mean, exactly, unconditional love. So that's what Swami does. Swami never asks you, I am giving you so much, give me something back. Maybe another way, he says that follow my message, different story. But that's what love also.
Saram, I
Same.
have a question. So if we start detaching, are we not missing the life experiences? Only if you have some sort of attachment, you are, as an individual, you are growing. I mean, let's say if I take example of at office, I want to do the best kind of thing, where I'm kind of attached to the result, where I myself am doing some sort of research on how to get done. So maybe like we should have some sort of a line or a definition, like where to detach versus what not to detach. So, but I felt like if we are trying to detach, we are missing out the life experiences. So, yeah, I'm open to hear suggestions on this.
This is an, as we always say, very excellent point of discussion. This is a process of evolution. To reach to that level, when you start to love everything, as Bhargav started, so we have to go through this process. That stage will come to understand the concept of love all, serve all. As Satishji mentioned, either you start loving everything, getting attached to everything, or getting detached from everything. Then it would be equanimity, as he was trying to say. So first thing is to understand that everything is perishable. We start from here. And then we start doing why this feeling of affection, of special attachment came to my mind. It is always, that's why it is named as moha. It is always ignorance. Any attachment is ignorance. Any attachment, be it father and son, be it husband, wife, any attachment is ignorance, is the result of ignorance. That's why Vedanta comes to that level. Even attachment to the body, this is not me. So they start from that level. That nothing, everything is perishable. Even me and mine is perishable. So what are we attaching to? So that initial concept needs to be very clear, very clear. Before we move, everything is perishable. So what are we attaching it for? What are we attaching it? Most of the times we attach for the five sensual pleasures. Five senses we have. Everything is giving us some kind of pleasure. We get attached to the visual pleasure, to the touch pleasure. All the Maya is revolving around these five pleasures we have. So we are getting some kind of care from this person. So I should not lose this care from this person, be it my own mother, be it my wife. So all these relations which we think. So number one is, it's not me, not mine. Even this relationship is going to perish. So why not to leave it from inside now? As Madhviji was mentioning about the job, that thing will come little later on. So that is the difference between the duty and getting detached. So Lord has not told us not to do our duties. We are doing that is exactly the same situation what Arjuna is in. Exactly same situation. So he's getting, should I kill these people for the sake of this kingdom? So Lord made his vision clear. No, you're not doing it for the sake of kingdom. You are doing it as your duty, because these are not the you know whatever wrongdoers. Or so this is your duty as a kshatriya, to kill the wrongdoers as well as your enemies. So do it with that intention. So as long as you're doing your job with that intention in your mind, that this is my job, without getting attached to the result also. So that will keep you calm. The whole purpose is to keep your senses calm, so that you don't get if you don't get the result, you don't get broken down. Or if you get the positive result, you will blow up, that I did it. So both ways it is negative. If you get the positive result, you will blow up with ego. If it gets negative, you will be shattered. That's why stay detached. Whatever happens, I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. That's it, not beyond it. Positive, negative, leave it up to Baba. That's
Okay. Just 1 minute. Just to expand on that one, as Madhaviji said. So I think if we do whatever we do as an offering, that is the first thing. So do whatever we do, we have to plan, we have to do our duty, whatever work we take, whether it is at workplace or at home, we have to do it with utmost sincerity, with full focus, and as an offering to the divine. If we do that and not attach any importance to the results thereof, of course, we have to plan for a result. We expect something to come out of it, but that expectation should be, we should not attach importance to that expectation. I think that is where it is. I mean, whatever outcome comes, it's for my good. With that intent, because you are doing it as an offering, whatever outcome comes, it's for my good, because it's the blessing that you get. So when we do it with that angle, then you are not attaching anything to it. In other words, you won't feel elated, as Manoj said. We won't feel elated when you get a positive result, nor will you get affected when you don't get a good result.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, sorry. So I'm trying to first go back to the question. So what her question is, if I am getting detached with everything, that I will not have any feelings, like I will not have any enjoyment in the life. I think that's my understanding, right? Suppose you're doing something and you will not have any experience out of that work because you already gave up. Oh, it's not my work, I'm just doing it. Something like that, right? Is that what my understanding?
Yeah, when because like we are talking about multiple things, right? Like one person talking about relationships, other one talking about how to serve and all. And so basically, my thing
So
was that
we'll not have any, family
experiences. Yeah, I mean,
experiences,
so
good memories. Is that the fundamental question? Yes, I think it's a very important and difficult to answer the question here. So what we are talking is the detachment. So if I give detachment, I will not have any good moments, good memories as a family I spent with my family because I'm already detached. So I'm looking everything in the kind of plain, nothing, right? So that's a very typical detachment technically. So people who can detach, it's a different story, right? When they are in the family, they will just look at everything is a common. They will not have any feelings or anything that whether it's a good or bad something. They will just always will not have any reaction. They just take it as normal part of the life. That is a difficult stage to reach most of us. But what I would recommend is let's not hang on to that. Any feeling, it may be a bad, it may be a good. It's always good to vibrate. It's because any moment it happens as a human being, you will have the feeling, you have the reaction to that moment. That's a vibration. But because we are practicing spirituality, that vibration time period has to come down. Like, do not stick to that, hang on to for, like something bad happened. Like, you'll have that feeling. And I'm saying, okay, this bad, I'm detached, I will not have any feelings. It may be difficult, but let's not keep it in the heart for a long time and longing for years. Because I have seen people who face certain life events in the life, they'll keep remembering it for 15 years, 20 years, not giving up on that. Oh, something bad happened. Somebody passed away in their past, maybe very close relatives, but they hang on to that moment, living miserable life all their lives. It's not worth. Similarly, if something good happens, and they will keep discussing years about that. They'll keep something happened, some good facilitation happened 15 years back, but they'll keep repeating it for 15 years, telling everybody every moment. The both extremes are not good. But as long as we react to that, understand, oh, this is part of life, and slowly get away from it, move on, keep moving. Moving on is the best policy, which is called giving up detachment. I mean, it's a kind of detachment, but you're not completely giving it up. So you react, enjoy that moment, and slowly get away from that, wait for next experience.
So you were talking about the results, right? Of when you're working on something and you are looking for the results that you initially were thinking. I have experienced it, that I have done a work and I have enjoyed it. Oh, you're still not able to hear me? Okay. Yeah. So I have experienced it where I have worked just because it was thrilling experience for me, right? Yes, that was that emotion, that sense object was there, but I, the results didn't make me think about getting up at 4 a.m. Oh, I have to get the results. It was just the sheer energy that gave me, that work gave me, that I was able to get up at 4 or 3 and work through, though the results were not coming out. It is just, so I think that we need to, that unconditional love, she said, that made complete sense to me, right? When you do something unconditionally, just because that is the right thing to do, that is perfect, when that that wavelength comes in, you will not look for the results. And unfortunately we do that, right, all the time, every sense. I'm cooking for my husband. Oh, he should say it is really good. Tomorrow he says, what did you make? I'm like, I'm not making it for you tomorrow, right? So all these things, we are expecting everything out of all the stuff, small actions. Whenever we think an action has to end up in some kind of a favorable result, whatever we think, we are losing at that point. And I had a question and as a general, like you said, that all the time we are talking about detachment. It is not now. Then why are we not able to apply even 1% of that in our daily life? Why are we again pulled into this samsara? Why are we not able to slowly detangle from that and move to that portion of it? Why do we have to constantly repeat, and still we are coming back to that circle? What is it we have to do to take to the next step? Where those are the things that we need to emphasize on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Just quick this one. I think it's a mindset. That's what I think. So it's the detachment is detaching from the results. So you can, if you have that firm conviction that whatever we do is for our good, that is the total surrender. And as an offering to the divinity, that's the higher power. If we do that, every action, and accept whatever comes as the most appropriate result, even if it is not, if it is a negative to compare to what we expect, meaning we do something thinking that that's going to result in something, but it's not happening, even then you accept that that is the best result. So it requires a mindset change. If we do that, then we are not going to be affected by either, if it is a positive or a negative, we are not going to be affected by it. Then we will be able to focus more on it and then maybe progress farther. But coming back to the relay, I don't want to take too much time. Anybody wants to add? I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Like before talking about detachment, um, like we get attached to a person, like a friend or a girl or someone. We know we get attached to them so much, and we come to a point where we get like things coming together very good. Like we've been talking on the phones and stuff. Like, why does God give this kind of a situation where we have to get detached from that person? Like we know, like it's detachment is a thing we suffer a lot from it. Like it not takes like a day or like a month or some. It takes like years to come out of it from a detachment. As I know from it, like God doesn't like their kids or someone to get suffered, right? So why does God give this a point called detachment in anyone's life? That's what my question is. So like God also know, like if this God know, like we suffer a lot, right? So he doesn't like its kids getting suffered. So why does God give this point called detachment in anyone's, like, in everyone's life? Like that's what.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, yeah. Okay. See, the thing is, the whole thing is a game. That's how I see it. Okay. So these are all the challenges that any like in a game, you will have some challenges provided to you to overcome. Okay. So these are all like that. But when we say detachment in your, for example, it depends on the context. Okay. At that stage where you want to be in a relationship, and this one, that should be fine. But in the, I think the detachment should be, you when you deal with that relationship, that should be always in the back of mind, that this or all the whole thing is temporary, because our life itself is temporary that way. So from that, as he said, to zoom out from the highest level, like 70 years, 100 years, in that time frame, this relationship is small. Okay. So but if you look at it from a day to day, or in a 1 year or 6 month cycle, that is a big thing. So the detachment is from that angle, that don't get attached to these relationship as if that's going to be permanent throughout your life. So it could change. Have that possibility always. That is how I can answer. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is to
Yeah.
same thing pretty much, like to answer Madhavi's thing is, life is supposed to be experiencing things. And if you detach from the beginning, then you don't even have what to detach from. So you should know what to attach to know what to detach from. So that's why you should not, like, hey, don't stop kids from having a chocolate. That's the time to have. So experience everything, but there is an emotion attached to that experience. So make sure you can distinguish that emotion and say, hey, in that case, what he explained, that is sorrow side of it. So that is also emotion. So we have to overcome that. Similarly, happiness also emotion. We have to overcome that.
Yeah. So as Jay Bhai was mentioning, we need to make sure that our even those emotions are not should not get, like we have discussed it earlier, a line written on a stone. So there are three stages they always explain. If it's a line written on a stone, would not go away easily. On sand, it will go away easily. Be like water, it comes and goes away. So that's a training of mind, as Venkaji is saying. Training of mind. It's your own training, so that these emotions will come and go away. Your question was getting attached to person. We need to revisit our own thinking. Why am I getting attached to that person, or male or female, whatever? Is it the external body you're getting attached to? Watch it closely. It's going to go away. All this beauty is going to go away. The physical beauty is going to go away. Even that inner thing, what I'm getting attached to, that inner part, is that also going to be stay there? That's also perishable. Everything is, so that is training of your mind. You start looking at person, the body is perishable, the emotions are perishable, everything. So what are we getting attached to? something to something which is perishable. So that will give you own elevation from inside, answer from inside. Anything you look at, anything which is visible or audible is perishable. So that will give you the true feeling. What I am getting attached to, this body, which is made of these 5 elements, she looks so beautiful. She's so attractive. I want to be, her to be in my life. But for what? In few days, this is all going to vanish away. So that if you understand, then you will know, you will not get attached from inside.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. We are running out of time. Just one word, just say your last word and then. Okay.
Of the discussion, I just want to wind up everything.
Yes.
Is that life is unpredictable, number one. And we have to set our priorities in life. What is important, how we can prioritize the things which you have to take in life. Sadness and happiness is a part of the life. You cannot keep the sadness or happiness for a long time and just looking at the back, as he said, Manojji said, you will spoil your life.
Yeah.
And you will not be able to do the other priorities which are important in your life. So yes, detachment means detach with the happiness or any sad event which you had 25 years ago has no value.
Yeah.
Why you're lamenting on that 25 years ago, what happened?
Yeah.
And then you're spoiling your further life. You are overriding your priorities, which are important for you. Life is very short, Venkatji.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sairam, you wanted to say, sir? I know. Yeah.
You said, and that's called prasada buddhi. When you go to the temple, you get a prasada. It could be an apple, it could be a banana. You don't say, oh, I don't want this. Whatever you get is it from God.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Sairam. Thank you, everyone. Thank everyone for participating. So we will end with Om and Kri Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam.